Hello my friends, Russia continued to push Bakhmut from many of the sides. Here you can see three of the main vectors of their attack. Before they pushed from Opetne, but they decided to cancel this attack vector, and now they move from the north part. The fighting isn't going for the Krasna Gora, which is I think up to 5 kilometers away from the city border, and they took Sil recently. I don't know why they didn't show it on the map. So Soledar they took like 5 days ago, and Sil they took recently 2 days ago. Also the starter attack in Klishivka, it's over here, and later on probably they're gonna use this road to go to the Bakhmut city. So it's complicated situation for Bakhmut, but we continue to hold and we evaluate the risks. I think Ukrainian command did the proper job on the mistakes that were done in Soledar, and I'm sure that further there will be no such a dramatic consequences for Bakhmut. The city itself is quite big. Wagner Group claims that they fight well in a city environment rather than in the fields, and I may agree with that because they got the experience fighting in Syrian cities. So compared to the regular Russian army, obviously Wagner Group is much better. They're better equipped, as I continue to say to you. You see, Ukrainian forces have lots of the new reinforcements on the north part near to Krasnohora, and as for Bakhmut, I would say it's well secured. Also have our forces on the south, so for now I don't really see the big threat for the Bakhmut city, maybe just for this side where Russia attacking it. Also, Russia cannot move their forces from the north because the only road is cut by Ukrainian forces. The bridge is destroyed, as well as the bridge is destroyed over here in the city center, so they cannot easily move from this part of the city if they would dare to capture it in the future to take the main part of the city. The Bakhmut city, and here you can see the new strategy of the Russian attack. They narrow their vectors, mainly it's one big direction, and finally after 1 month they were able to take this park under their control. And also I think they penetrated the defense lines of Ukrainian forces over here, so the fighting isn't going very close to the residential small area over here, and we have our 52nd brigade that is fighting in this perimeter, and still they try to reach this area, and this is the most constant Russian attack vector but the least successful. Before they've took a couple of the quarrels here in the residential area but were driven away by Ukrainian forces, and this is quite a new vector for their attack on the south, and they were successfully maybe over there because it shows on the map that they penetrated the defense perimeter of Ukrainian army, and we have 71st Brigade in charge for defending this territory. As you can see, we concentrate less forces in this area because it could be under constant Russian attacks by mortars and many more. Yes, they may use their artillery systems to shell all of the city, but some of the Russian weaponry can reach just this area. I'm speaking about the tanks and some of their mortars, so we concentrate our forces mostly here, and artillery systems behind the city, so we shell Russians' positions as well. Obviously Russians fight back and Ukrainian side has the casualties. Couple of words about Donetsk. Russia continued to attack near to Opetne, Vadene, Marinka and Pobeda over here. Here they have no success, but several videos were published how they attack Ukrainian forces, destroying maybe M777 artillery system somewhere in this area. It's better not to trust the Russian side without clear facts, and I'm not sure whether that M777 artillery was destroyed over here. It was destroyed with the help of the drone. This is the Zaporizhia region. As you can see, it's a standstill for many of the months, I would say, but Russia concentrated their forces in Tokmak and Melitopol, and they may start their attack once again on the Zaporizhia region. At least we got this information from our general command. But before, many experts say that Ukraine is expected to counterattack over here, including me. I'm not the expert, I'm just a random guy with a map on a desk, but nevertheless many of the Ukrainians expected the counterattack should start in January, but as we see there are no any signs of it to happen in the nearby future. Probably we are waiting for the new weaponry, and as you can see we have some of the news about the new supplies of the weaponry to Ukraine. For example, good news from the Netherlands, they are planning to transfer the Patriot systems to Ukraine. Awesome, so we have 3 countries who are willing to transfer those systems to Ukraine: Germany, United States and Netherlands. Those systems are awesome to secure Ukrainian skies, and if Russia had the air superiority before, it wouldn't be the easy walk for the Ukrainian army to free the Kharkiv area and Kherson. And actually, it wasn't the easy walk for us. That counterattack was planned, and yes, unfortunately, we got many casualties during any kind of the operation because it's the war. But Russians just run away from that territory, and it's good. So this is the map published by the European experts. I don't know if you can see something. Well, let me explain. So Russia continue to attack over here, and this pink territory that they've took just recently. You can see that they are up to encircle the part of the Bakhmut area from the northeast and from the southwest, and it's kind of tricky. I'm quite concerned about it, so Ukraine should push from this side and this one to stop Russians' encirclement of the Bakhmut city, which I see from this part is more real compared to the tactical maps. And I just want to cross-check with the International Institute of the War Researches. So here's the Donetsk region. And let's zoom into Bakhmut. Yes, this amber area over here is claimed to be captured by the Russian forces. And Klishivka on the south, yes, I would say it's real. They really took the part of the village under their control, but the fighting continues, even though they reported that they've took this village under their control. No, they later admitted that the fighting continues for that village. So it's kind of tricky situation for the Bakhmut, because clearly you can see that Russian forces are moving from this part and also from Opetna, and they're fighting for Khrushchevka. So they're getting ready to partially encircle the Bakhmut city. And I hope that someday you will have the long-range missiles to destroy the Russian ammunition depots that are located far away from the front lines, up to 300 kilometers. That will be a game changer. For now, I don't see in a nearby perspective the delivery of those rockets to Ukraine, so they concentrate on the tanks, air defense systems, but still afraid to send long-range rockets to Ukraine. Speaking about the Russian tanks, this is T-90 Prorif, the best Russian tank actually in service, not speaking about Armata, because they are still testing that tank. And guess with what system this tank was destroyed? With Javelin system. So clearly you can see the heat on the top of the turret, and the smoke is coming out from the tank. Later on, this tank was shelled again, just not to let Russians to repair that particular unit. And this is the image from the drone. You can see many of the Russian infantry vehicles were destroyed. This happened near to Vodane village on Donetsk direction. Most of those vehicles are BMP-1, and they're quite old but still in service in the Russian army. The armor protection of those vehicles is really terrible, and you can see the Z sign on one of those. And clearly those are the Russian vehicles, and I think we used the artillery systems because those are the shells that missed the target. Good job from our artillery. I hope we'll see some sort of the video from the place. Russia sent more military planes to Belarus, or I call the country Belorussia. You can see the Su-34 in the back, and they conduct the joint military drills with Belarusian forces that will go for, I think, 2 more weeks. Before I was like neutral to the Russian military pilots, but now I see just killers there. So I hate them. Maybe from all of the Russian forces, I hate them most of all. Why? Well, basically because they did the most harm to Mariupol and other Ukrainian cities and continue to fire their rockets on civilians. The UK Minister of Defense, Ben Wallace, said that they are getting ready to train 20,000 Ukrainian soldiers this year, and also he admitted that 40 Challenger tanks are not enough to change the situation on the front lines, but he said it's just the beginning, and many of the other countries will provide new tanks for Ukrainian army, and the new battle group will be created from those tanks in Ukraine, and that will present the threat for the Russian army. Also, the battle vehicles like Marders and Bradleys will play a great role in this conflict. And I would say that during the Iraq war, more enemy tanks were destroyed with the help of the Bradleys rather than Abrams tanks. Bradleys are awesome with their anti-tank TOW missiles. So guys, no worries, the support of Ukraine continues and will never stop until we win this war. There is the information from the Russian media resources that Putin is going to announce something important about the Ukrainian war tomorrow, but his press secretary Peskov says that it's not about the new mobilization in the Russian army. Look at this self-proclaimed Chechen leader Kadyrov. He's sitting in the armchair like a tsar, like under drugs or something. Very relaxed manner of the speech, and he says that Russia cannot lose this war because Russia has nuclear warheads and they need just to press the button and finish this world. Well, interesting outcome, and as you can see, they continue to frighten the world with their nukes, but it's not coming from the Putin, because Putin got the warning from the United States not to continue with his rhetorics about the nukes, and Putin is calm about it for many months. According to the Spiegel resource, the new defense minister of Germany will be this guy. His name is Boris Pistorius, and he used to be the chief of the police in South Saxonia. And he already said that they work on providing the Leopard 2 tanks to Ukraine, so it's just a matter of time that we'll have the clearance from Germany to Poland and other countries that are willing to provide those tanks to Ukraine, and also Germany itself will send those tanks to Ukraine. Don't look at the media saying that they will send those tanks next year. No, it will happen very fast. This is Moscow, Russia, and some of the Russians start to bring flowers to the monument of Lesya Ukrainka, who used to be the famous Ukrainian writer. They brought flowers because Russia attacked that residential building in Dnipro city, and for now it's been confirmed that 45 people lost their lives, including many kids. That's why you can see some of the toys out there. So there are some normal Russians in the Russian Federation, but what Russia did, they sent police for that stuff, not to let Russians bring the flowers to the monument. It's total madness and dictatorship in Russian Federation.